everything just starts to kind of like take a chill pill a little bit, and you get whatever you need to be done, like done between this time. Because when Thursday hits, it's for her. Almost on sleep mode. Almost on sleep mode. I'm your girl, MYRA, MALOBA, the Afro Punk Queen, holding it down right here at Icon Radio #1 Entertainment Plug. This is the Breakfast Jam, and we do this Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. East African time. You're streaming us live on www.iconradio.co.ke. That is both video and audio streaming live. And of course, we are also live on youtube.com/an-icon-radio-k. But when you want to hear all the music vibes, of course, you have to head on over to the site. But you can subscribe to the channel. Our numbers are growing by the day, and we are so grateful for you guys showing us so much love. So be sure to subscribe today, and of course, like and follow our pages as Icon Radio KE on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Of course, you can follow me on Instagram. That's Near Fox. Twitter at MALOBA. Hit me up. Let me know. Let's chop it up. And you can also hit me up using the hashtags. That is Breakfast Jam, the Breakfast Jam, Afropunk Queen, Icon Radio, and Icon Radio KE. All right, guys. Well, let me tell you, it's been one emotional week. As in, like, literally from the weekend, because I'm counting my week from the weekend. From the weekend, it's been very emotional, but at the same time, very touching. Again, we are celebrating the life of Catherine Kasavuli. I'll not say mourning, I'll say celebrating, because it is indeed a celebration. The reason I mention her so much is because she impacted the lives of so many people. Listen, this is the first woman to hit our screens, okay? A time where women were not really being regarded, not really being looked at, a person you'd put, regularly on TV. It was mostly male dominated. But this time she was one of the first, in fact, actually the first to get on our screens, and she took over with so much poise, so much elegance. And everybody just remembers her for who she was. And it's just been emotional for a lot of guys. It's been very emotional. Let me tell you, these tears have been cried. They have been cried. But it has been great just remembering this amazing, iconic woman. So remember, they are raising funds for basically this process, from getting her to her funeral, to the burial. So we have the details right on our Instagram handle. You can check it out there and just send anything. I'm telling you, literally anything small, from 50 to 100 to 1,000, anything you can do will go a long way towards helping the family, giving her to give her a befitting send-off. All right, let's go right into the weather right now. So intermittent clouds at 18 degrees in Nairobi, humidity at 60%. It looks like it's gonna be a nice and cool day, but hey, manze, Jana was hot. Hey, me, I don't know about this as a man when they say usually, it's nice and pleasant. Ooh, yesterday was hot. For Mombasa, 27 degrees, partly sunny. Humidity at 75%. It's gonna get hot, my guys. Hot. By 12, it will be at 32 degrees. At Kisumu, intermittent clouds, 20 degrees, humidity at 71%. And it's, it's going to be pretty hot as well for you guys. Pretty hot. So enjoy the weather, no matter where you are. And of course, just, dress appropriately. Dress for the weather. All right. California, I'll always look at California. Things are still thick over there. Strongest atmospheric river yet slams California with deadly impacts as of 4 hours ago. Now, the tumultuous start to the year for California continued on Monday and Tuesday at the strongest in a series of storms, tapped into a fire hose of moisture and spurred deadly flooding, damaging mudslides, and even tornado warnings. My God, it's absolutely horrendous. Millions of storm-weary people across California faced another round of life-threatening weather to start the week at an atmospheric as an atmospheric river unloaded more than a month's worth of rain in one day, which sparked flash floods, rock slides, and even avalanches. Now, the early week storm is the latest in a line of storms that have pummeled California since New Year's Eve. More than a dozen storm related fatalities have been reported across the state since the end of 2022, which is higher than the death toll from wildfires in California over the past 2 years. At least 3 storm-related deaths were reported from the latest system, including one woman who was killed Monday in Avila Beach, located 150 miles northwest of Los Angeles, after her vehicle was overtaken by water. Two more fatalities were confirmed Tuesday after a large tree fell on 2 vehicles on Highway 99 near Visalia, California, killing both of the drivers. A 5-year-old boy is also missing after he was swept away by the floodwaters Monday near San Miguel, located 130 miles southeast of San Jose. Whew. Again, our thoughts and prayers are with the residents and the people of California as they try to weather this storm. Absolutely devastating, just the images coming out of there. Guys, keep strong, keep the faith, and we hope you come out of this even better. All right, now let us get into the music as we start our morning off. You know, we're all about that throwback therapy right here on the Breakfast Jam, where we're all about your music. That is the iconic Celine Dion with It's All Coming Back to Me Now. Let me tell you, Celine's voice is one that will carry on or continues to carry on through the ages. Like literally you cannot listen to her voice and mistake who she is. Now, she was diagnosed just last year with what is called a stiff person syndrome. Now, stiff person syndrome, basically, what is it? It is said to be, what is it said to be? It's said to be a rare neurological condition and has taken over, it's starting to take over her body. So the way she explained it was, it literally starts taking over your functions of your body to a point where you're no longer able to use parts of your body again. So it just makes you, as the word suggests, stiff, absolutely stiff. And this is something that will take over her slowly, progressively, to where she's unable to completely move or just, do anything for herself. It's absolutely scary to hear about. I, like, when she was talking about it, I really empathized with her. And, after she announced it, she said she's no longer going to be doing tour dates. This is one thing she's been really known for. It's doing those nights in Vegas, just headlining shows, apart from the songs that she has been dropping. So to have her not be on stage anymore, it's truly heartbreaking. And I hope she does get to be able to manage this syndrome. And I hope she gets to actually just, live some semblance of a normal life. All right, now let's take a look at the news real quick before we got to the top of the hour. Now, the U.S. government extends helping hand in gay rights activist Edwin Chiloba murder probe. Now, the U.S. government has offered to assist Kenyan authorities with their investigations into the killing of gay rights activist Edwin Chiloba. A U.S. State Department spokesperson called for thorough and transparent investigations into the killing of the LGBTQ activist. A Kenyan court on Monday allowed the police to detain 5 suspects linked to the murder of Chiloba, whose body was found dumped by the roadside in Eldoret last Tuesday. The killing had sparked an outcry among human rights crusaders who had condemned violence against members of LGBTQ community, saying intolerance has no place in a free and open society. Now, remember, this is also comes on the heels of when Biden signed a new law into protecting the gay rights of the citizens of America. So probably this is how they are, extending their hand to actually make sure that the dignity of humans and human life is preserved. So a lot of Kenyans were coming out to say, why would they get into our business? Oh, they shouldn't be doing this, that, and the other to, continue this conversation in our country. At the end of the day, I keep saying, a human life was lost. So let's remember that. And I think this is what also the US is looking at, but also because I actually believe about the bill they signed in last year, which is in relation to gay rights. All right. In Uganda, now a court quashes key part of controversial internet law. Now, Uganda Constitutional Court on Tuesday quashed a key part of controversial internet law, which rights groups charge was aimed at stifling free speech. Now, a section of the Computer Misuse Act made it an offense for anyone to use electronic communication to disturb or attempt to disturb the peace, quiet, or privacy of any person with no purpose of legitimate communication. Justice Kenneth Kakuru, announcing the ruling of the court's 5-judge panel, found the article in 2011 law contravened the East African country's constitution and was null and void. He said, I find that the impugned section is unjustifiable as it curtails the freedom of speech in a free and democratic society. Now, he also described it as overly vague, and rights groups have complained about the communications law as a way for the government to curb freedom of expression and crack down on opponents of veteran President Yoweri Museveni. Now, Uganda has been famous for cracking down on the internet, especially when it comes to during the political season, and you find people are locked out of the internet for months on end and then able to actually just communicate with the world, or have the world communicate with them. So it's been a little bit difficult. They've been having to use VPNs and stuff like that to be able to get word out or even get a word in. So the court has slammed down and said no more of that. It is not constitutional. All right, let's see how it plays out with Mr. Museveni himself. Now, elsewhere, an elderly couple is to be paid 234 million over fraud. Now, a court has ordered Absa Bank to pay an elderly couple 234 million as compensation for fraudulently selling their shares held in 11 companies. Now, Justice Alfred Mabea directed the lender, formerly known as Barclays Bank of Kenya Limited, to compensate Stanley Mwangi Gashugu and Bila Waruguru Mwangi 234,188,156. 188,156. That phone number. Being the prevailing current market value of 127,797 shares. Now, the couple trades as Vinco Footwear, and they ventured into entrepreneurship in 1958 with a capital of 10 shillings, and over time invested in shares for their old age. Now, Justice Mabea issued the order in enforcing a judgment issued on October 4, 2019, where the court found the shares had been fraudulently sold by the financial lender and directed for valuation in the same. Now, in that judgment, the court held that the prevailing market value could only be the value that at the Nairobi Stock Exchange, and the couple said that in 1991 they had deposited their share certificates for various companies in the bank as security for loans. At the time, they operated a current business account with the lender at its Moi Avenue branch. Though that account, they obtained overdraft facilities, or rather through that account, they obtained overdraft facilities in 1990 and 1991 as security for their facilities they deposited with the defendant's share certificates and title deeds. In respect to the share certificates, they signed blank transfer forms which were left in the custody of the bank. Now, it was the couple's case that the overdraft facility was fully paid off, although they did not request for the release of their share certificates or titles because the same were safe at the bank. They were also contemplating using those securities later to obtain further facility from the bank. But later on, the bank denied them these requests, and they had to take to court. And this is where the court has led them, and the court has ordered that they be paid that sum of amount which amounts to 234 million. Woo! Quite an amount to take to the bank. Now, Safaricom makes a U-turn on Bonga Point's expiry plan. It has reversed a plan to put an expiry date on its Bonga loyalty program that has amassed 4.5 billion in liabilities by March 2022, which would have seen customers lose points accrued before 2019. Now, the telco on Tuesday disputed reports that it had set Bonga Point's expiry date in an email response to questions on the loyalty program ahead of 2019. At no point did Safaricom announce that Bonga Points were expiring. Safaricom said. The latest position by the firm in August and November update of the program's terms and conditions that would have seen their unclaimed points expire effective January 1st. Now, they have backtracked and they've said, no more of that. Who said? Who told you? Me? Did I say no? There's nothing like that. Me, I never said anything like that. There's no expiry. Yeah, so a review shows Safaricom has since retracted the update from its website. Although when you do go to check your Bonga points, it does actually ask you, or rather it asks you, maybe it has been removed, when did you accrue, or you check how long you accrued your Bonga points for. So he asks you whether you've had yours for the last 3 years or not. But now this backtracking statement, hey, something must have happened. But I do have friends who actually went and used up their bonga points based on this threat alone. And they went and did shopping for the family, nini, so that their bonga points could not be taken away. Well, way to go, Safaricom. Guys already used them up. You say this after the fact anyway. Nisawa. Now, lastly, we're taking a look at how Kiambu, investor of Lesedi Developers, made 1 billion by selling hope and hot air. Now, it is one of the worst cases of fraud in history. US-based energy giant Enron Corporation ranked 7th on the list of America's largest and most profitable companies in 2000. So big was the financial enterprise that the company had an estimated asset of 7.8 trillion with an annual turnover of over 10 trillion shillings. However, in December 2001, the company filed for bankruptcy, and it later emerged that everything was made up after Fortune magazine exposed how Enron was engaging in financial misrepresentation by altering accounting records to mislead its investors and was engaging in insider trading. Now, Mr. Kenneth Lay, the firm's founder, was charged with 6 crimes, including conspiracy and fraud, but he died of a heart attack before being convicted. Mr. Lay's deceptive success inspired many emerging entrepreneurs who wanted to get rich quickly. One of them is Mr. Geoffrey Kiragu, the founder of Thika-based Lesedi Developers, a real estate company that has left potential land and homeowners vulnerable with millions of shillings in bank loans to repay after selling non-existent plots in Juja, Kiambu, and Nakuru. Tens of investors interviewed by the press and who tabled receipts and legal agreements with Lesedi developers said that they have been left vulnerable after parting with their hard-earned cash, but neither land nor title deed is in their possessions. Some investors have been issued with bouncing checks when they ask for refunds. Yes, and it's just been dragging on. I remember this story. It was absolutely horrible. People actually even spend their life savings just trying to get this land. Oh my God. Okay. Literally, I don't know how to do due diligence. Hey, I need to drink water. I don't know how to do due diligence or in regards to land, but there needs to be some sort of vetting process before anybody acquires a piece of land, or seeks to get a title deed or seeks to buy a house from a development, whatever the case may be. A lot of these developments use off-plan selling methods. Therefore, they ask you to pay for the money as they're developing the homes, and that's how they get a lot of this their money, is to be able to build some of these houses. But some projects have never seen the light of day, or if they do, they have completely stalled. It's absolutely heartbreaking to see how many people have lost so much money in regards to some of these schemes, and Lesedi Developers was one of the worst of them. All right, guys, just be vigilant and be careful before you invest in anything. It has led a lot of guys to actually not invest in their own country based on some of these things that are happening. But again, due diligence is required. All right, guys, we are officially in the 3rd hour where we do show love for the 254. Keep it here for music that is locally made and, of course, internationally recognized. All right. Remember, our lines are completely open for the last hour. That is your request hour. So be sure to take advantage of the fact that you control the playlist. Anything goes between 9 and 10. Just send those requests in here on the Breakfast Jam.
Mistaken identity.
Kitu gani hiyo? Kitu gani mistaken hiyo?
Wasichana.
Na umebeba nini hapo?
Hakuna kitu.
Wasichana msichana gani huyo? Alikuwa ameshona ameisha. Alikuwa mwembamba, alikuwa na wao.
Wacha tusikie story yake kwanza. I'm sorry, wacha tusikie story yake tu kwanza.
Sikia, wacha niwaambie tu story detail yote kutoka mwanzo. Kutoka mwanzo. Poa. Sasa ilikuwa hivi. Clemo pump your track Joe. Kapuka. Nasikia tu ikinuka vitamu, inanifahamu ya kutiririka. Leo mambo kufurahi, hakuna kujamu. Life is stressing, sikatai, lakini blessing kuwa hai. Ndo maana kila Friday hiyo ni bidii na furahi.
Kakasungura, Rabbit, King Kaka, whoever you want to call him. That's great with Adisia right here as we show love for the 254 in this particular hour. Let's take a look at the weather real quick. In Nairobi, 21 degrees, intermittent clouds. It looks like it's going to be nice, and pretty nice day. But yesterday was hot. So if these are the same degrees for yesterday, where things are looking thick, humidity at 57%. Mombasa, 29 degrees, partly sunny, and it's going to get hot as the day goes on. Remember, at noon, it'll go to highs of 32 degrees. And in Kisumu, it is at 22 degrees, intermittent clouds, humidity at 63%. It's going to be a nice and pleasant day for you guys. Not too hot, not too cold. But remember, no matter where you are, no matter the weather, you'll always have a great day with Icon Radio. Let's get back into the music. And when we come back, we'll be taking a look at toxic relationships, aka toxic love, right here on Wellness Wednesdays. best Luganda, and he did a really good job with that. I was actually listening to his lyrics, and he actually, got it down. He got it down pretty packed. For somebody like me who's part Ugandan, it doesn't even help. I can't do that and save my life. All right, guys, it is Wellness Wednesday, and you can weigh into our conversations on WhatsApp number +254 788380030. I'd love to actually just chop it up with you guys on this. We are also on youtube.com/@Icon Radio KE. Our comment section is open over there as well. Guys, there is such a thing as toxic love and toxic relationships. Now, if there's one case that has actually exhibited that over the past many other ones, because there have been many instances of toxic love and toxic relationship that have led to deadly consequences, it has to be the one of Edwin Chiloba, who was found dead in Kapseret, Wasingishu County, after he was brutally killed and dumped in the area by unknown assailants, which are now actually known at this particular time. And it's said that his ex-lover, Jackton Odhiambo, along with 3 other, including underage boys, were among the people to actually just execute the dumping of his body after he was brutally killed. Now, the stories have emerged where, it is known that he was actually in a very toxic relationship. One such person who has come out to talk about it is Michelle Ntalami, who is a founder and CEO of Marini Naturals, and is famous also for, talking about her own love situations. And she put out a statement and said humanity has lost the kind of person who made sure they spent every waking minute spreading pure, unadulterated love. And she says she mourns the LGBTQ activist Edwin Chiloba, who was allegedly killed by his lover. Now, she goes on to say that she described him, or she rather thought of him as a selfless individual whose dreams in the fashion industry were undeservingly cut short. Now, she said, and she paid witness to what kind of situation it was, because they talked about it a lot in a lot of WhatsApp messages that were exchanged between the two. Now, she said it's heartbreaking to see that, yes, you have now finally been recognized globally, but in such a tragic way. Painful that he who claimed to love you broke your heart over and over and eventually took your life. We talked about it so many times. That was not love. But that pure heart of yours would not let go. Oh, darling, break heart. Odhiambo. It also, apparently, according to the blogs, is revealed that he actually was married with a child. Other than the result of a toxic relationship. Now, what does a toxic relationship mean? Now, in a healthy relationship, everything just kind of works. Sure, you might relationships are another story altogether. In a toxic relationship, you might consistently feel drained or unhappy after spending time with your partner. According to relationship therapist Caraballo, which can suggest that some things need to change. Maybe the relationship no longer feels at all enjoyable, though you still love your partner. For some reason, you always seem to rub each other the wrong way or can't seem to stop arguing over minor issues. You might even dread the thought of seeing them instead of looking forward to it as you did in the past. Now, I would like us to take a look at some of the signs of a toxic relationship that you may have noticed but overlooked because you're thinking, I'm not like my neighbor who keeps soup over being souped every day. Or, I'm not over here like Nini in these relationships where there's a baby daddy situation. No. There are actual signs of a toxic relationship that may exist in your relationship right now that you are overlooking. Now, depending on the nature of the relationship, signs of toxicity can be subtle or highly obvious. Now, when you're in a toxic relationship, you might not always find it easy to notice the red flags popping up. All the same, you could notice some of these signs in yourself, your partner, or the relationship itself. Now, one of them is lack of support. Healthy relationships are based on a mutual desire to see others succeed in all areas of life. But when things turn toxic, every achievement becomes a competition. In short, the time you spend together no longer feels positive. You don't feel supported or encouraged, and you can't trust them to show up for you. Instead, you might get the impression that your needs and interests don't matter, that they only care about what they want. Another sign is toxic communication. Instead of kindness and mutual respect, most of your conversations are filled with sarcasm or criticism and fueled by contempt. Do you catch yourself making snide remarks to your friends or family members? Maybe you repeat what they said in a mocking tone when they're not in the room. You may even start dodging their calls just to get a break from the inevitable arguments and hostility. Another sign is envy or jealousy. While it's perfectly fine to experience a little envy from time to time, it can become an issue if your envy keeps you from thinking positively about your partner's success. Now, the same goes for jealousy. It's a perfectly natural human emotion, but when it leads to constant suspicion and mistrust, it can quickly begin to erode your relationship. All right, we'll take a look at two more before we take a break. We also have controlling behaviors. Does your partner ask where you are all the time? Maybe they become annoyed or irritated when you don't immediately answer text or text you again and again until you do. These behaviors might stem from jealousy or lack of trust, but they can also suggest a need for control, both of which can contribute to relationship toxicity. In some cases, these attempts at control can also suggest abuse. I remember when I used to make excuses for that. I was like, this guy, manze, he's always checking on me, but that's because, he always wants to be around me. He always wants to, be in my presence and, share time with me. But it is a way of controlling. When somebody's constantly checking where you are, what you're doing, who you're talking to, it is a form of control and can be a form of abuse. Before we go on the break, the last thing we're looking at is resentment. Now, holding on to grudges and letting them fester chips away at intimacy. Over time, frustration or resentment can build up and make a smaller chasm much bigger. Now, you can note too whether you tend to nurse these grievances quietly because you don't feel safe speaking up when something bothers you. If you can't trust your partner to listen to your concerns, your relationship could be toxic. You should be able to talk to your partner and voice your concerns. If you're not feeling free to be able to do that, then those are clear signs that that is a problematic relationship, and it is indeed toxic. All right, when we do come back, we're taking a look at another celebrity who has talked about toxic relationships and what she went through in her relationship. And we'll look at five other forms of toxic relationships, as well as look at what to do when you find yourself in one. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll be getting more into these conversations on Wellness Wednesdays. His Chomoa has just been an absolute hit. Of course, he does a lot of covers, yes, but he does them so well. Oh my gosh. It is That's All Wednesdays right here on Icon Radio, number one entertainment plug. I'm your girl, MYRA, MALOBA, the Afro-Punk Queen on the Breakfast Jam, where we do this Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Remember to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. And of course, check into www.iconradio.co.ke, where we are live and direct, both audio and video. All right. Now, listen, guys, toxic relationship, toxic love is very much present in our society, and it has just been elevated even further and brought to the forefront due to social media. We get to learn a lot about what's happening in people's homes, and I've just been highlighting a few from the likes of Tekla, who was allegedly murdered by someone who was close to her. Also, we had the case of Lillian, former Machakos County First Lady, who was also testifying to the fact that there could be toxic love and toxic relationships that could lead to tragic ends. We also took a look at who else did we take a look at? I'm getting brain farts. But we also took a look at some other people who have actually come out to say that they were actually in toxic relationships. And Michelle and Talami came out to speak about the fact that Edwin Chiloba was indeed in a toxic relationship, and she had receipts for that because there were conversations going back and forth with her in regards to that, with her and Edwin Chiloba in regards to that. Now, another one we're taking a look at, so that we don't only look at one gender, is the fact of or the case of Maxine Wahome and Assad Khan. Now, this hit the headlines last year, and it's turned tragic as well. Now, the rally driver Assad Khan passed away last year after a fight that happened between him and his girlfriend Maxine Wahome at their home. Now, it is said to be the fact that they actually got into a fight that led him to now either fall into a window pane or get pushed into a window pane that left him with a deep cut on his leg or on his ankle, and blood just was oozing out. Now, apparently this fight was due to the fact that Maxine had come home late, or rather early Tuesday morning or during December. Do you know that that's his Shehere's period, blah, blah, blah. But some guys usually feel, listen, if you belong to a relationship, if you belong to a home, that there's certain times that you should be at home. And probably this was the case here. Or she just didn't communicate that she wouldn't be home on time. And it apparently led to an altercation because she came home very intoxicated at odd hours, according to the report. And when they got into this fight, it ended up in a very tragic way. Now, the scene was documented, and forensic evidence included blood stains and broken glass that was collected for examination. And it also led to eventual arrest. Now, he stayed in ICU for quite some time, and it seemed that she had lost a lot of blood, what had also filled his lungs as a result of what had happened. It was also said that he was left alone when it happened. She went to sleep, and he literally had to crawl to his phone to get help. And he eventually got his brother, who now called for help and called the police, and that's how he ended up in hospital. But unfortunately, with all the efforts that were there, it led to his demise. And she was arrested, arraigned in court, and let go on 100,000 shilling bond. Now, what is coming out of this story is becoming almost apparent, but again, it is alleged, is that she was the aggressor in this situation. They did get into a fight, but it did turn out that, or people are claiming that, it is due to her aggression and due to her part in all of this mess that he ended up losing his life. So this could be a sign as well of a toxic relationship. And so these are the signs to continue to look out for that I've been giving throughout the show, that you can look into and see whether you are indeed in a toxic relationship. Like I said earlier, you could be in one right now. but you think it's normal. Like, your dude calling you all the time and, asking where you are, what's going on, blah, 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 blah. And you might think, oh man, this guy loves me, man. He wants to be in my presence. He wants to be with me. He always wants my attention. He wants my affection. But this guy could just be controlling you. It's a form of abuse. Financial restrictions. He wants to control your money, or she wants to control your money, wants to, be the one handing out to you, controlling what you're spending your money on. It's the one who's making it, or tells you, don't go to work, stay at home, I'll take care of everything. It could be a form of control, and it could be a form of abuse as well. Now, the other thing that could also lead to this, or could be a sign of this, is ignoring your needs. Now, going along with whatever your partner wants to do, even when it goes against your wishes or comfort level, is a sure sign of toxicity. They say they planned a vacation that will take you out of town on your mom's birthday or your friend's rorashio, but when they asked you what dates were convenient, you ever said that any dates were fine as long as you don't miss your mom's birthday or your friend's event. You don't want to point this out since you don't want to start a fight. You say, great, I'm so excited. But this could be a form of control. That somebody decides to do something nice and amazing for you, but is veiled with the fact that they don't want you attending anything else because they don't want you to be around other people. They just want you to be around them. It is a form of control. Now, the other thing is lack of no, I already said lack of self-care, but ignoring your needs. I also said that. Lost relationship. You stopped spending time with friends and family, either to avoid conflict with your partner or to get around having to explain what's happening in your relationship. Alternatively, you might find that dealing with your partner or worrying about your relationship occupies most of your free time. I think is hoping for change. You might stay in the relationship because you remember how much fun you had in the beginning. Maybe you think that if you just change yourself and your reactions, they'll change as well. Lastly, we take a look at somebody who is constantly walking on eggshells. Now, you worry that by bringing up problems, you provoke extreme tension. So you become conflict avoidant and keep any issues to yourself. The question is it possible to fix a toxic relationship? Now, many people assume that toxic relationships are doomed, but that isn't always the case. What is the deciding factor in this particular case? Both partners must want to change. If only one partner is invested in creating healthy patterns, there is unfortunately little likelihood that change will occur. So now when we come back, we'll take a look at a few signs you might be able to work things out together. All right, let's take a short break, get back into that Dancehall Wednesdays, and get into wine and grind wherever we are as we continue on with the playlist. Remember, it is request hour. You control the playlist. Let us know what you'd like to listen to. Just all you have to do is hit us up on +254 78838 0030 or the comment section on YouTube, and I'll be sure to honor your wish.
You now listening to Icon Radio, your #1 entertainment player. The Breakfast Jam with MYRA MALOBA.
We don't worry if the girl them we are sing. The girl them, allow me know. Alright, content. Worry, we no worry, we no worry, we no worry about them.
the major girl of my dreams right there as we go through happening in and around the country, and they have been quite a few, both for male and female, not only restricted to one gender. Now, the question is it possible to fix a relationship? Yes, it can be possible. Now, these are the few signs you might be able to work things out. Now, there's acceptance of responsibility. If both you and your partner know the relationship is struggling and want to improve it, you're on the right track. Recognizing past behaviors that have harmed the relationship is vital on both ends. It reflects an interest in self-awareness and self-responsibility. Also, willingness to invest. Are both you and your partner both willing to invest in making relationship better? That's a good sign. If your shift from blaming to understanding, then if you're both able to steer the conversation away from blaming and more towards understanding and learning, you are probably on the right path forward. You can also have openness to outside help. Sometimes you might need help or to get things back on track, either through individual or couples counseling. I always say counseling doesn't end before you take the plunge, before you get married. It continues. It's a continuous process because conflict is something that occurs time and again in a relationship, but how to resolve it is what matters. Now, how can we move forward? Now, repairing a toxic relationship will take time, patience, and diligence. Given that most toxic relationships often occur as a result of long-standing issues in the current relationship or as a result of unaddressed issues to prior relationship, these steps can help you turn things around. Don't dwell on the past. It's very hard. Believe me, I know. I am one of those people who hold on to things, but try not to dwell on the past. Sure, part of repairing the relationship will likely involve addressing past events, but this shouldn't be the sole focus of a relationship moving forward. Resist the temptation to constantly refer back to negative scenarios, since this can leave both of you tense, frustrated, and basically right back where you started. View your partner with compassion. When you find yourself wanting to blame your partner for all the problems in the relationship, try taking a step back and looking at the potential motivators behind their behavior. Have they recently gone through a hard time at work? Had some family drama been weighing them heavily? These challenges don't excuse bad behavior, but they can help you come to a better understanding of where it comes from. Start therapy. Right? An openness to therapy can be a good sign that mending the relationship is possible. In order to help the relationship move forward, you'll actually need to reach out to schedule that first appointment. While campus counseling is a good starting point, individual therapy can be a helpful addition. That is something that is very important, and I hope to take up in 2023 because it will help you kind of realize why you are the way you are, especially when it comes to your relationship. It could be past trauma from what you saw with your parents. It could be past trauma from a past relationship. It could be things that you've never really dealt with that you need to deal with in order to move forward in a healthier relationship, and it had to start with you. Find support. Now, regardless of whether you decide to try therapy, look for other support opportunities. Support might involve talking to a close friend or trusted mentor. Other options include joining a local support group or for couples or partners dealing with specific issues in their relationship. And not everyone is as invested in your relationship as you may be, and not everyone will give you the right advice. When you seek out the help of somebody, also take time to evaluate whatever they're saying and whether it is indeed healthy for your relationship. Lastly, practice healthy communication. Very, 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 very important. You control the playlist. All you have to do is let us know on +254 788 380030 what you would like to be played uninterrupted for the next 2 days. I really hope you enjoy. All right, guys. See you next week.